Thank you, Mr. Bernhardt. And we now will turn to a 5-minute round of questions from members. And Mr. Bernhardt, my first round here will be perhaps more parochial than my colleagues here, but I want to speak to some of the Alaska-specific issues. If you're confirmed, we have had the discussion about the extent of the role that Alaska plays within Department of Interior. We oftentimes refer to the department as our landlord, given the scope and reach into our internal affairs. It's no secret around here that with the last administration, I didn't have a particularly close or productive relationship with the Department of Interior, which was unfortunate. So a general question to you this morning is, how will you approach the dealings with the state of Alaska? How will that be different than what we saw with the previous administration?
Well, first, let me say that I love the state of Alaska.
Thank you.
My wife and I have been at Katmai National Park, which I think is one of the most incredible parks on the planet. I've hunted in Yukon Charlie Preserve and been to Denali. In terms of a changed perspective, I think Secretary Zinke's already set that tone by saying that this would be an administration that restores trust. And I believe that when he says that, he means that we will cooperate and collaborate with states and be respectful of their appropriate role in management and stewardship, and with tribes. And from my own perspective, I would tell you this, that I'm a student of history, and I know and appreciate the agreements that the people in the state of Alaska believe were made by this Congress for them, and the balance that those statutes were designed to create. And to the extent that we decide that that balance is out of kilter, we'll work with you to restore the balance and the trust.
Well, we appreciate that, because we feel that there have been many promises made, whether at statehood or following statehood as it related to our lands and to the promises made to our Native people. In that vein, you mentioned the commitment to work with our tribes, and I'm pleased that you are emphasizing that, because the obligation to uphold the federal government's trust responsibility to our First Peoples is a significant one, and throughout the country. But recognizing that we have had issues relating to consultation with our Native people, whether in the state of Alaska. I know, again, many of the commitments that were made under ANCSA, many believe have not been kept. There are groups like the Bering Sea Elders who believe the federal government hasn't done a good job of consultation in the past. So I'm asking for your commitment to not only conduct consultation. I don't want check-the-box consultation. We need to have meaningful and consistent consultation with our tribes, with our Native organizations, not only in Alaska, but around the country, and really to involve them appropriately in the decisions being made that are relevant to them.
Well, I certainly will give you that commitment. I am fortunate in that yesterday I received a letter from the Southern Ute tribe, which is a tribe in Colorado that used to be led by a gentleman named Leonard Birch. And I had the good fortune of working with Chairman Leonard Birch and others to learn just how meaningful good tribal leadership can be to communities. And they supported my nomination, expressed that I have a history of listening and working with them, and of all the things that I've received other than Senator Gardner's introduction, that really hit home for me. I mentioned it in my testimony, and it's something I believe in. I spent years working on Indian water rights settlements, resolving conflicts, whether they were in Colorado, New Mexico, or Arizona. And I'm committed to hearing people out and trying to find real solutions, and to the extent that we can solve things, doing it. At the end of the day, that's what we're going to be judged on. What we did we adopt practical solutions Did we move the ball forward? Because I think at times we're paralyzed in federal government, and we just need to step forward and make things happen.
Thank you. Senator Cantwell.